Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Keto. And today's guest is the amazing Renee Jones. She's a counselor, coach, and speaker who focuses on overcoming eating. She wrote an amazing book called What's Really Eating You? Overcome the Triggers of Comfort Eating. After 40 years on the diet yo-yo, Renee lost her weight in 2012 after sorting out her self-sabotage with emotional eating. So let's just skip this and go say hi to Renee. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Keto, the show that highlights ordinary people achieving extraordinary results and changing their lives for the better with a ketogenic diet. You too can be healthier and live better by adopting this amazing lifestyle. If you are new to the show, new episodes go live every Wednesday for your encouragement and support. And all show notes can be found at bewellbeketo.com. Listen each week and add the show to your favorites on your best podcast app. And if you know any cool people that would like to share their story, please contact us at support@highenergygirl.com. And if you want to follow us on social media, which I highly recommend, you can either join our Facebook group called High Energy Girls, if you're a girl, or follow us on Instagram and YouTube at The High Energy Girl. Now let's get to this week's episode with your host, Tracy Gluhite. Yep, that's me. Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Hey Renee, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited to cover a certain topic that you want to talk about. But before that, let's just talk about you and let's just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I spent 40 years on a diet. I started when I was 10 because my mother thought if we sorted it out then, I'd be set for life. But unfortunately, she wasn't very good at it, and neither was I. So I just did the yo-yo thing until 2012, when I thought, okay, I'm about to turn 50, and we know what happens to women after 50. There's no chance you can lose weight after that, right? So I figured out that my main issue was emotional eating, and I started working on that, and I lost my weight the week before my 50th birthday.
Nice. Yeah. How much did you lose?
Okay, I'm a bit like you in that it was only 35 to 40 pounds. But, some of my clients will say, oh, you've never been overweight. You've only been 40 pounds overweight. And I'm thinking, I'm only 5'3". Come on, 40 pounds on 5'3" is significant. And the process is the same. It just takes longer.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you saying it takes longer because of the more weight?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure because once you get an older age, it also takes longer.
It can. Yes.
Uh-huh.
But I think I kind of proved to myself that it might take a little longer. But, every time I choose my food well and don't, eat for emotional reasons, the weight just comes off.
Mm-hmm. When you listen to your body and be more intuitive?
Yes. When I do what I know I need to do, it's not that hard. And I hate to admit that, but it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a huge summary. So let's dive deeper there. So
Okay.
you decided right before you turned 50 that you wanted to lose 40 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you want to do that besides, of course, that big round number? And then what did you do? How'd you do it? Kind of go.
Okay. Well, I woke up on New Year's morning and I thought, crud, we're here again. We're doing these New Year's resolutions again. And so I was really good for a couple of weeks and then I fell off my plan. And then at the 1st of February, I started again and fell off the plan. 1st of March. And by April, I needed a bigger size and I was absolutely mortified because that's when I hit the 40-pound mark. And I thought, okay, I've got to do something different. This just isn't working. So I went online to do some research because that's kind of what I do. And I found this piece of information that I thought, okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. And they said, only eat when you are hungry.
Go figure.
If I could do that, I wouldn't need a diet, would I? So I just kept looking around and I found some information on emotional eating, which thing I'd do really great until something happened and then I'd crash land in front of the refrigerator to soothe myself. So I was doing some research and study on that and trying to apply it. And over time, it just sort of got in there. And I actually had a colleague that I spent some time talking to when I would get, wound up. I would call her and say, okay, here's what's going on. And she would talk me through it, very much like a coach, right? So I did it actually on the low fat, low calorie, no flavor diet. So I was actually kind of starving myself.
Yeah.
I was only doing 1,200 calories a day and it was a struggle because I was hungry. And I just thought, okay, this is what you have to do. And I gutted my way through it. And in fact, 2 years later, I was still gutting through it, trying to maintain. And I found that I was tired, hungry, and cranky all the time. So at that point, this would have been 2014. I did a metabolic test and it said I needed more fat in my diet. And I thought, fat? You're not supposed to have fat. What is wrong with you?
So what kind of metabolic test was that?
It was actually, an online test and they ask you all kinds of questions, including things like the color of the white of your eye and various things about your body. And it puts you into categories. And if you're this kind of category, you need to eat this. If you're this category, you need to eat that. And then there's a moderation thing in the middle where you do kind of, a blend of it. And now keep in mind, I was at my goal weight. My goal weight at that time was 119 pounds because that's what Weight Watchers told me I needed to be, right? So I chose that. I was there and I followed their diet for a week, which was essentially low carb, except you had, cheese sauce and butter on everything. And I lost 2 pounds.
In how long?
A week.
Oh.
And
wow.
I thought, okay, that's weird. Okay, I like this. I wasn't hungry. What on earth is this? And that started me down the path toward keto.
It's not tasteless anymore.
It's not tasteless anymore.
That is awesome. Yeah. And what year? That was 2015?
That was 2014. And then I was beginning to try to figure out, okay, what is this keto thing? And by April of 2015, I thought, okay, I'm just going to do it. So I did. And I've been keto ever since.
But you actually had your weight loss before that, right? Didn't you?
Right.
Okay.
But my weight, what I was doing left me tired, hungry, and cranky.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And once I started adding fat back to my diet and reducing the carbohydrates, of course, the insulin levels, the blood sugar levels leveled out, which took away those peaks and valleys of the spikes, right? So my husband loves me much more since I don't get quite so cranky.
Yeah, and I would bet that the extra cholesterol, saturated fat also balance your hormones a little bit too, right?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's cool. And then how did you get into the emotional eating side of it?
Well, that was my thing. I mean, I ate for emotional reasons most of the time, and I was addicted to sugar. I thought every meal needed a dessert, really, or some sweet component. And actually, before I went keto, I decided, okay, I made a rule for myself. I only have sugar on Sundays, just to try to break myself of that. And there was one, like on the Wednesday, I was standing in my pantry staring down the chocolate chips saying, I only have sugar on Sundays. But, but about 10 days in, I thought, oh, okay, I can do this. I haven't been as moody as I once was. Oh, maybe the sugar and the carbohydrates are part of that, which gave me a reason to continue. And I just said, okay, let's go full blown keto.
Cool. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny how you did that, but I still but being able to do that is more grit and more willpower and all of that. Tell me a little bit more about the deeper side of the emotional equation with food.
Okay. All right. So, most of the foods that we go to when we are stressed out, upset, frustrated, mad, just want something to eat, are comfort foods. And they're usually associated with some memory. When I was doing my TEDx talk, I had the whole group do this one exercise. And I said, all right, close your eyes. Think about that food that you go to every time. When did you first have it? And who gave it to you? What was going on?
Gosh, how do they remember back that far?
Most of the time, it doesn't matter how early it was, because there is a memory of it, whether or not you can remember all the specifics. But there's usually a place in the time that you first remember having it. You may have had it many times before, but this is the first time in your memory. And it's usually encased in something. Like for me, it was peanut butter. And when my mother passed away, I crawled into my peanut butter jar and gained pounds, right? And then a few years later, when my grandmother passed away, who was, I was tight with my nan. We were just very close. And I thought, okay, I do not want to gain all that weight again. So I thought, okay, what is it about peanut butter? Okay, so all three of us loved peanut butter. That was our go-to food. And then I thought, oh, all I have to do is see the jar. And it is a tangible connection to the love and encouragement that my nan gave me. So once I recognized that, it was like, okay, she is not in this jar. It's just the connection. So how do I find another way to hold on to that love and encouragement without putting something in my mouth?
That's interesting that you said that. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to share a little story. So do you eat peanut butter now?
Sometimes.
Okay. So occasionally.
Occasionally. Yeah. For a long time, I had to not buy it.
To break the pattern.
Right.
So my grandma grew up down the street from me, I think like 6 houses down. And she was a peanut butter girl. And she had a sign in her kitchen that said, peanut butter is better than pot.
Yes.
This is like in the 70s, right? And I'll never forget that. She was so awesome. I still love my peanut butter, of course, but I just never forget that. She worked at Beach Nut, and so she used to have Lifesavers and Bubble Yum at her house all the time. So, I mean, I don't do any of those, foods anymore, but yeah, she was awesome. I was very, very, very close to my grandparents.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's,
and those are lovely connections. You just have to extract them from the actual food
yeah,
because the
yeah,
connection doesn't go away.
right. Right. Of course not. Yeah. And I'll never forget that whole pot or that whole story. I wish I had that stupid sign. That would have been funny, you know?
eBay. Check on eBay. Maybe there's one somewhere.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So so you went keto, you realized that you felt better. Is there anything else you experienced, like any other health benefits that you noticed?
Well, my husband didn't have to get an apartment during menopause, which I think was a great benefit.
That's a win.
I think I did not know that I did not feel good because after I got adapted, I had more energy. I felt better just in my body as well as in my spirit. So I think it was just that I had always had carbohydrates and lots of them, and I just didn't know that that's what made me feel suboptimal, and I didn't even know I felt suboptimal. I just thought that's the way you felt.
Oh my gosh. Do you know who Brian Williamson is?
Uh-huh.
So he said when he was on my show, he said that he didn't know he was depressed until he wasn't depressed anymore.
Yes. Yes.
And that he said it was just like this cloud was lifted once he went keto.
Yes. And I would agree. I mean, that whole, I don't get those terrible moods anymore.
Mm.
And that's wonderful. So, yeah, I know Brian and his story. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. I think mental health is a real problem, in our country. And
Yes.
so I think that if people knew what we know about keto, maybe we could help it, help more people.
Yeah, I do some work in a behavioral health hospital, and I snagged one of the doctors recently and said, okay, so what do you think about keto and depression and bipolar and all of those things? And he said, yeah, I think it probably can do a lot of good for the people who will stick to it. It's just sticking to it.
Yeah, but once they feel better, why wouldn't they? I mean, I just can't imagine not sticking to it.
Mm. I think it's more of the adaptation process for people. If they get to fat adaptation, I think they'll stay with it. But just getting there can sometimes be a challenge because, you go for the things that bring you comfort, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, Tracy, from birth, we are taught when something happens, put something in your mouth. Think about a baby. When they cry, what do?
Give them a bottle.
Give them a bottle or a pacifier or the breast. And unfortunately, we went from the pacifier to a donut.
That's funny.
But it's true. I mean, if you're upset, if a child is upset, they give them candy. They give them, what do you want to eat? And it's seldom an apple. It's junk food. And every man that I ask, what is your go-to food? They always say ice cream.
Yeah, one of my clients, it was a funny story. She's in Europe and she's like, what is that ice cream that you recommend? And she was like, I have a VIP Facebook group, and I commented back, it's so delicious. And she's like, yeah, but what brand is it? I'm like, so delicious. And I sent her a picture of it. It's this coconut milk, no sugar added. Have you had it?
I haven't had it, but I've seen it.
Yeah, it's really good. They have chocolate and then chocolate mint are the two flavors I like. But, you just have a small teacup amount and it's perfect.
I make my own.
Oh, how?
I use a book of recipes, and they're really good. Really, really, really good.
Which book?
I make, it's Carrie Brown's Ice Cream Scoop.
Oh, I have that book.
Oh, yeah. get yourself into the Kept in the Dark chocolate. Or Sassy Goat.
Is it dairy free?
It can be dairy free.
Okay, I've got to
She
find
makes a
that
lot of
book.
them with coconut or almond milk.
Okay, I'm going to find that book somewhere. That sounds amazing.
Oh, they are good. And if you have her holiday cookbook, she has an eggnog ice cream that is just amazing.
Okay, I think I have all her books, but they're all ebooks, right?
Well, you can get them in printed form, or you can send them to Staples and have them print for you.
Okay, I found it. Yeah, I have. That's a good idea to get them sent at Staples. She's amazing. She posted the other day. She said, "Do you think I should do a cooking show?" I mean,
Yes.
wouldn't that be awesome?
Are you on her Keto Kitchen?
On her Facebook group?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been on the show
Ah,
twice.
has she?
Uh-huh.
How have I missed that? Because she's a friend. I'm one of her admins.
Oh, I love her. She's amazing. She's talked about her entire her whole story, and it went on so long that we had to hang up and reschedule for another day to finish it. So we did 2 shows together.
Ah, I'll have to look that one up because I mean, I've heard that story many times, but it's good to hear.
Yeah,
It's
she's the
good to
one.
hear.
She inspired me to go and get my 23andMe because my mom has Alzheimer's,
Oh yeah,
and she told me how to get it all done. And yeah, she's a
yeah,
doll.
yeah. She's lovely, really lovely.
Oh, how cool. So let's go back to emotional eating. So what kinds of
Okay.
tips would you want the listeners to learn about? Like what types of things do you like to teach when you talk?
Well, one of the things that I teach them is that overcoming emotional eating isn't hard. It just takes a while to get the hang of it. And I have an acronym with the word hang. And the H is, am I hungry? And if you are, you probably need to eat something. But if you're not, then A, what is the attraction to food for you? N, what do I actually need other than food? Do you need, to play with the dog? Do you need to go for a little walk? Do you need to just get up and move to a different space for a few minutes? What is it that you actually need in that moment? And then G, go get that, because that will soothe you more than any food ever could.
Yeah.
I also suggest one of my taglines is face your stuff, don't stuff your face.
Yeah, I love that one. That is a good
Because so
one.
much of because our baggage gets in the way, and when we deal with the baggage, it stops all of the nonsense, and we can then make better choices. Because I don't know about you, Tracy, but when I'm in my best self, I make lots better choices.
Oh yeah, I think it has to do a lot with mindfulness too,
Mm, mm. Yeah, because so much of the time we eat on autopilot, don't we? If we don't slow down enough to actually enjoy it, and if you're not going to enjoy it, you may as well just be eating celery, right?
Yeah, celery juice.
Yeah, so just pay attention to the food. What my ice cream men, I say, okay, so if you're going to have the ice cream, then make it a choice. Choose the time and place. Sit down at the table, put down a placemat, use a spoon and a bowl, turn off the TV and focus on that food while you're eating it. Because if you're not going to focus on the food, then why are you eating it all?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're bored watching TV and you're using food as your entertainment, then why are you watching TV?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we will just give in to a craving. But if you're going to give in to the craving, then give it the food you're giving in with the same honor that you're giving the craving by setting the table, sitting down, taking the time, and enjoying it.
Yeah. That's what I just told a client this morning because she tends to be a snacker.
Mm. Yeah.
So.
And that gets very troublesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just mindless. Like one of my food rules that I've set for myself is that I don't eat nuts just like out of a bag because it tends to be a way to do mindless eating, right? And you can get yourself in trouble that way.
Yes. My husband came home with a bag of salted roasted nuts. And I said, oh, no, 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 no. Take those upstairs, take them to your office, anywhere. I can't see them because I don't have an off switch for those.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be in portion controlled amounts. So he did, bless him.
Oh, good.
And then he brought them, his mother gave him some, and he put them in the pantry, and I put them up on the high shelf. I'm only 5'3", so that I have to have a step stool to get to the high shelf. And he said, why are they way up here? I said, because I can't see them. So while he was away one week, I took him and put him in his sock drawer because I just did not want them in the kitchen with me.
Well, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Exactly. And that's one of the things that you can do if you're in a family that is not fully keto and people want their foods. That's fine. Great. They can do what they can do, but put them off above eye level for you and put them in an opaque container, because if you don't see them, as you say, out of sight, out of mind. But that's one way you can kind of have those foods around but not partake.
You want to hear a funny story with that one? I always have silly stories because I always do really dumb things. So we had so we use our bottom oven as like an out of sight, out of mind, right? Because we hardly never use it for cooking.
Yes.
And I think there was like I don't know, my mother-in-law loves to bake and bring stuff over, and I'm the only keto girl in the house. So, but I like to have it hidden so that, I don't attack it. And so I always put stuff in the bottom oven and I forget it's there. I forget it so badly that one time I was heating up the bottom oven to cook something and it caught on fire because there was paper in it.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. So, I've been known to do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. But no, I think that's really important because a lot of times if I'm working with a client, it's like, okay, well, clean out make your house a safe place so that you don't have that temptation, because your willpower is only going to last, a little bit, right?
Yes.
So,
you only have, that's limited supply there.
Yeah, for sure. Finite. So I see that you're a public speaker, and I'm going to look at your TED Talk now because I'm so curious. I love TED Talks. But what do you also do? So is this your full-time speaking thing?
I do a little bit of speaking, but I also see clients. I love one-on-one work with clients. Mm-hmm. So everyone says you need to do groups and that sort of thing. And groups are fine, but I do love that one-on-one. I'll always do one-on-one because it's just so satisfying to help somebody. Because when they're, stuffing down their feelings and following it with a food chaser, I know I can help them.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to take notes on this show. You are darn funny. Now, have you ever written a book? Because you should take all these good zingers and put them in your book.
Yes, I have a book out. It's called What's Really Eating You? Overcome the Triggers of Comfort Eating.
Oh, okay. Is it like a new book or?
Oh, it's been out a couple of years, I think. But it's on Amazon. I think they've got it on Barnes & Noble as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, did you put all your funny little Renee-isms in there?
I might have put a few, maybe a few. One of the chapters is gluttony, the culture-approved sin.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because it is, isn't it? I mean, we just sort of accept it as this is just the way we are now. And unfortunately, that's gotten so into our mindset that we don't question it enough.
Yeah.
But it's not okay. I mean, okay, so the Twiggy thing was a little much. The 80s aerobic stick figure kind of thing was that was swinging that pendulum a little far. But there's a healthy weight range that we can be in. The designers don't seem to understand that, but there's a good healthy weight range for us that's good for us emotionally. It's good for us physically.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to find it.
And do you believe that that's a certain number, or do you believe that your body will reach that naturally once it's nourished correctly?
I don't think it's a certain number. I think it's more of a feeling. Because when you feel good. But I think there is probably a general range based on your height and body type. Because I think we can also kind of lie to ourselves and say, yeah, this is healthy, but you're actually technically obese.
Yeah. I totally know what you're saying. And, but the doctors, they're so into that whole BMI thing, which I am not a proponent of.
Yeah, I have a terrific relationship with my doc because of what I do. And I'll say, I'm fine. Okay.
That's good. And so
yeah.
she doesn't like try to sway you in one way or another?
No, he's a little confused about the whole keto thing, but I'm working on him.
Yeah, I wish. I was trying to work on my doctor, and he's a vegan. And we all, another funny story. There was this big group of us. I want to say there was 10 of us that all got yoga certified together. So we were together often for, many weeks. And at the end, we had this big celebration at my house. And so we said, okay, let's do a Mexican food night, because I'm thinking taco salad, right? And so most of them are all vegans. And so they're bringing all this, corn tortilla, rice, beans, all this stuff. And at the end of the buffet, I just have a big bowl of grass-fed taco meat.
And you're the one who ate it all, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty funny, but whatever. I mean,
yeah.
I don't care. You stay in your own lane and I'll stay in my own lane.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah. It was pretty funny.
Of course, he will come and say, okay, I need you to talk to so-and-so. I said, they've got to call me. They've got to invest themselves because I've maintained my weight since October of 2012. I've been up a couple of pounds, down a couple of pounds, but if I get a little low and I happen to, that happens to be when I go visit him, he's like, okay, so are you going lower than this? I said, I don't know. I'm just doing my stuff. And the number doesn't really bother me that much.
That is pretty funny that it just kind of reaches that set point that it's your happy place, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it is well within the range for my height and body size. So I'm in the healthy range. That is my intent to stay there forever. And that amazes him for a start, because over the years that I've been going to him, I've been a lot heavier. And, now I'm not. And he's like, okay, how do you do this?
Cool. Well, I think you're going to have a very positive influence on him, Renee. And, that's going to be a whole new thing because I think that sometimes people just need to see things over and over and over before they finally get it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think so.
That's cool. Awesome. So what other information would you like the listeners to know about the emotional eating and all of that? I feel like there's just a little bit more that we need to dig deeper on.
Okay. Well, one of the things just in overcoming emotional eating is that we have to find what's driving the behavior. We want that sort of quick fix, but we have to separate the food from the emotional pull. And we all have foods, but, what is it that is driving yours? What is it you're looking for? What are you missing? Is it nutrient based? Because sometimes cravings come out of not getting the nutrients you need. Yeah. So figure out whether you're eating because you're hungry. If you're not hungry, what's going on? Because there's something going on there. And it may be that you're too stressed. You've got too much stress stuff going on and you're just looking for a little bit of comfort. What is it that is driving that? And then, okay, so if I could tell somebody one thing, I would say, do not do the sleeper.
The what?
The sleeper. You know the diet yo-yo?
Uh-huh.
You know a yo-yo? Okay, so there is a trick with a yo-yo called the sleeper. And the yo-yo goes down and it just spins at the end of the string. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, it just keeps spinning, right? And the sleeper for the diet yo-yo is believing all the nonsense, that there is some magic pill or potion or exercise program that'll make the weight just fall right off you. If they had found that, do you think anybody would suffer through the low calorie diet or weight loss surgery? We don't know that yet. There is nothing. The only thing we can actually do is make really good choices consistently for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, being mindful. It's true, though, with what you just said, that like one of my clients had that weight loss surgery and gained it all back because she didn't fix what else was going on in her life that was creating the behavior to begin with.
Yes. When I first started shifted, from the regular counseling to this specifically, I think I had 10 clients in the first year, and 5 of them had the weight loss surgery.
Wow. And then
go
ahead.
It just happens so much. You're right, because they don't fix the issue.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go to, okay, what's driving you to eat food? I know you can't eat as much. And one of the real problems that they don't talk about so much with that particular surgery is that it makes you much more susceptible to alcoholism.
Really?
Yes, because, things have changed. You don't take in as much food. Your tolerance for alcohol is much lower. So you could be falling down drunk with one drink.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. But then keto makes you a little more susceptible to alcohol, not alcoholism necessarily, but it affects you faster.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that one either. So that's interesting. I mean, I live in California. Well, you do too. Wait, no, you live in Texas.
No, I live in Texas, but I like your area of California.
Oh, have you been here?
Yes.
Oh.
I have a sister-in-law who used to live in Redwood Shores.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's about an hour from here.
Yeah, so we visited your general area a few times.
So we literally have a winery that is adjacent to our property in front of us.
Oh, lovely.
And we have grapes growing on the right, grapes growing on the left. I mean, we're on our road right across the street from our property. It says Wine Trail. I mean, literally, It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do drink my wine. I try not to have it as much as I used to, but I definitely love it.
Yeah, me too. If you are not in danger of alcoholism, it's not a problem for you. I mean, yes, on keto, you don't drink the sweet things and you probably don't drink as much, but if you can be responsible with it, it can be part of your diet.
Yeah. Yep, I believe that. I've actually interviewed a doctor on the show who he and his wife have a glass or two of wine every night. And he said that there's a lot of health benefits to it. And he's working with, oh gosh, I can't remember who it is, but it's somebody famous in the keto space. Maybe like in the realm of Peter Attia or one of those people with women. And I think it's a breast cancer project. He wrote the book, oh, Lord, please forgive me. I can't even remember what it is, but it's a really good keto book. Oh, Oh, well, I can't even remember what the name of the book is, but it has an egg on the front. Like I have it, I bought it.
Oh, yeah.
It's Dave, something.
Yeah. Uh, the bio diet.
Bio Diet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good book. But he was telling me, so Dave was saying that, that he was telling me the health benefits of it. So then it took away some of that guilt. And I said, oh, okay, fine. I'm good.
Well, Tracy, if you think about it, the French have been doing it for centuries.
Yes. And I only
They
drink French wine or Italian wine. So there you go.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, I think it really, like almost everything else, it comes down to portion sizes and what's good for your body.
Yeah, I think you're right on the portion sizes for sure. Do you remember that book, French Women Don't Get Fat?
Yes, I do. In fact, I actually quote something from that in my book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people hate it, but she talked about how the French don't think about, well, I'm saving myself for this meal later, thinking they're going to miss out on something. They think, I want to fully enjoy this at this time, so I'm going to moderate until then.
Oh,
And I
like
thought,
that.
wow, that is a different perspective.
Yeah. And then it also sounds like from coming from a place of abundance instead of lack.
Yes.
Like I don't
Yes.
need to eat it all now. If I want more tomorrow or the next day or the next day, instead of, oh my gosh, I don't want this to go to waste.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because we do tend to get almost like, if I don't have it now, I won't get to have it. Or, Oprah told a story years ago about going to France and having a croissant. And she bought two because she knew she was going to just gobble down the first one. And she bought the second one to enjoy it.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Isn't it? Because, well, why didn't you just stop and enjoy the first one? Because we fear it's going to get away from us somehow. And it's not logical, but it affects how we do things.
Huh. That's interesting.
Mm.
Very, very interesting perspective. I've never heard that. But you're right. I mean, but we go back to that same thing about being mindful. And I like our mindfulness, like mindful Tracy is not going to polish off a half a bag of macadamia nuts.
No.
But when you're distracted eating and you're eating mindlessly, yeah, it's possible because you're not focused,
So always eat mindfully.
Exactly.
Because otherwise you're not going to enjoy it, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And have you heard that quote, 1 is too many, 100 never enough?
No, but I love it.
You could steal that one. It goes along with what you're doing, right?
Yeah. I'll write that down.
Yeah, well, it's because sometimes, it's like an alcoholic. One drink is too many because then they're going to go on and on and on and on and on, and it's never enough.
Never get. Yeah.
So sometimes we have to not even have one of our danger zone foods.
Yes. And it's so particular to you.
Right.
When I work with clients, I have this 3-pronged approach. I go, your body, your baggage, your best. Because everybody's body is different. Your chemistry and my chemistry are totally different. So we have to find what works for your body. What works for you is what works for you. And if one salted roasted nut will lead me to have, a whole box of them, then no, I can't have one unsupervised. It's got to be measured, and there can be no more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I 100% agree with them. That is what is so nice about the little individual packs, so that it's portion controlled.
Yes.
Yes. And by the way, for your ice cream friends, that's So Delicious has a little ice cream bar.
Really?
Yeah, I get it at Whole Foods, and there's no sugar added. It's keto friendly. It's like just a little vanilla chocolate ice cream bar, but it's portion controlled so that they can have something, that they're not going to go off on.
Yes, yes. One of the things I do when I make ice cream is when I'm taking it out of the freezer, the ice cream freezer, I put it in muffin cups and freeze it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So that it is a portion. Because if it's just in a bowl, it's too easy to go back and get more. Well, I don't think I had a full portion there.
Oh, that is hilarious, Renee. That is a great idea, though. I mean, because then you have it all like a half a cup serving.
Right? Yes. Yes.
Cool. So my trick with ice cream is I have this little teacup that comes with my dishes. And
sure.
It's just a small, regular size, small teacup. And that's my ice cream bowl.
There you go. That's wise.
Yeah. So, and sometimes because I'm a big weightlifter, what I'll do is if I need extra protein that day, then I'll take I'll add some protein powder to it, take a little bit of cashew milk and stir it around a little bit. So then it's like a treat, but it has the protein powder on it.
There you go. Yeah.
So that seems to work.
Wisdom from experience here, huh?
Yeah, lots and lots of experience for sure. Not always the best choices, but hey, I've at least, they always say it's not a straight line to success. Well, at least I'm heading in the right direction.
That's right. That's right. And if you're going in the wrong direction, do you know what you do?
Turn around.
That's it.
Make a U-turn.
There you go.
That's awesome. Well, listen, girl, I just want to thank you, Renee, so much for coming on the show. You are hilarious. You should have your own Comedy Central. I'm going to definitely have to listen and when I go back through the show and take some of your little Renee-isms down because you have a great sense of humor and it was awesome to talk with you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, she was so funny. I hope you really enjoyed it as much as I did. So if you like the show, please head on over to iTunes, leave us a rating and review. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please head on over, email me at tracy@highenergygirl.com. And we'd love to have you share your amazing story to inspire the other listeners. For complete show notes, head on over to bewellbeketo.com. So thanks for listening, you guys. Go out and make it a great day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.